So Friendship was written and directed by Andrew DeYoung, and it stars Tim Robinson, Paul Rudd, and Kate Mara. And it's about this mild-mannered man named Craig. He's got a family. He's got a job, a very boring job. One day he meets his new neighbor, played by Paul Rudd, and they wind up starting a friendship and such. But things take a turn when Paul Rudd says, "Hey, I don't want to be your friend anymore." And we have a movie about obsession that is absolutely chaotic, that is absolutely crazy, and definitely worth watching. So this is a movie that I heard about a while back. I saw the trailer for it. I was like, okay, I'll be kind of interested in it. I don't know too much about it. They're kind of hiding a lot of stuff from this movie. And having seen this movie, I didn't know too much about Tim Robinson. I knew that he had his own sketch show on Netflix that I didn't watch, but I've seen some of the memes at least, so I have that reference for him. So I was kind of curious to see, it's like, what kind of movies is going to be like, knowing some of the stuff that Tim Robinson does. I'm like, okay, it's going to be out there. It's going to be bizarre. It's going to be surreal. But after watching this movie is absolutely hilarious. This is one of my favorite comedies in a long time. It is so hilarious. Pretty much every scene in this movie is shockingly, it's really funny, if I'm being honest. Like, that to say it's really funny doesn't really sell it that well. But let's go into it. First off, I thought everyone did a good job. Tim Robinson, I thought he was really good in this movie, selling this character who is just very. At first, he's just very boring, very generic, but you can kind of tell there's something underneath there. And he's just so good at playing a person who's like so obnoxious. And he's just so good in this movie. He's so funny. Paul Rudd is also pretty good in this movie. Kate Mara also has some decent moments in this movie, particularly in the second half. Again, this movie is very funny. There are so many moments in this movie where I was just kind of laughing so loud, but then again, I was actually the only person in my theater, unfortunately. And there's so many moments where it's like it's so uncomfortable at times, but it's just still incredibly funny. And like there's one moment, I won't spoil it too much, but it involves a Subway restaurant. And the final punchline for that is so funny that it just kind of caught me off guard. I'm like, okay, you got me, movie. You really got me there. And also, this movie can be very unpredictable. I had no idea where exactly this movie was going to go. I figured, oh, based off the trailer, this is what's going to happen. This is going to happen at the halfway mark. Oh, surprisingly, this takes place pretty early. It's actually going to take place around the end of the first act. I'm like, okay, let's see where the rest of this movie goes. And a lot of it does make a lot of sense, and it does make a lot of sense, but at the same time, it's like I couldn't imagine where this movie was going to go at some point. Like, there's a whole subplot involving Kate Mara about halfway through, which again, I won't spoil, but it's like, okay, you're going somewhere different. I actually kind of like that. That's actually very good. And also, I do think that its weird nature definitely helps it a lot more. There are definitely some moments where I was watching this movie, I'm like, wait, this doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. But then again, given the whole nature of the movie, it's like, okay, that actually kind of makes sense now. It makes sense for the fact that it doesn't really make sense because everything else in this world kind of doesn't really make a lot of sense. I do think that's actually kind of interesting. And again, it kind of helps a lot more than it does hurt it. And there are so many things in this movie where it's like I'm looking back on it, it's like, okay, that was a clue to what's going to happen later on. I'm like, okay, I like that with a lot of movies. It's like if I go back and watch this scene again, I'm like, okay, that's going to play into a scene that I already know about later. And I like that with a lot of movies. And I'm definitely curious to see where Andrew DeYoung goes next with his next movie. And also if Tim Robinson gets another movie out of this, which I hope he does. He's really funny in this movie. And I was kind of curious to see also, like, everything in this movie does work in a weird way. Even like scenes that are kind of pointless, they do work for how strange they are. Again, there's a scene involving Subway that actually works very well. Now, is there anything about this movie I don't like? Well, there are a couple moments in this movie that I felt like, are these really necessary? Like, there's some scenes involving Kate Mara and some plot lines involving her character that I'm like, are these really necessary? Like, there's one reference to something that happened before the events of the movie, and I'm like, okay, let's see where they go with this. And they don't really go anywhere with it, unfortunately. You could imply that because of this event, this is kind of how they are now. It's like, okay, I guess. There's also kind of a plot with her character kind of doing some stuff on the side that's not really seen on screen at all. And it's like, okay, there's something there in a moment about an hour into the movie, but it's not a whole lot. I didn't know, like, again, could that really go back into the whole weird and surreal nature of this movie where it's like, if a lot of stuff is happening in this movie, it doesn't quite make sense, but it's like, it makes sense in the fact that it doesn't make sense. This is a very weird movie, but like, if you know who Tim Robinson is at this point, I think you're going to really enjoy this movie. Also, there are some references to. I saw a lot of people compare this to I Love You Man. And I don't know if I would go. I don't know if I would call it I Love You Man, but like there are some moments in this movie where it's like kind of reminded me of another movie, which I won't spoil here. but there are some references to this movie where I'm like, okay, this clearly kind of is paying homage to this movie in a weird way because, you know, a lot of people have paid homage to this movie in some way. Um, I won't spoil it, but I'll give you some clues. It's like there's like a politician at some point. That's all I'll really say. Which that really doesn't say much, but again, I don't want to give it away because the rest of this movie is so surprisingly funny that I don't want to spoil a lot of the moments. I don't want to spoil a lot of the plot. I don't want to spoil a lot of jokes. So because I just want people to go actually see this movie, go have a good laugh. It is surprisingly funny. It is such a good time. So Friendship, this movie caught me off guard. It was so surprisingly funny. Tim Robinson and Paul Rudd are really good in this movie. Kate Mara is decent in the movie, even though I have some issues with her character. It's very funny, very unpredictable. The weird nature actually helps this movie a lot. A lot of stuff that I thought, well, why is that in there? Okay, well, that actually kind of makes sense. And again, it doesn't make sense. Again, when you watch it, you'll understand and won't understand at the same time. But I would definitely recommend this movie as a fun time. I will give Friendship 3.5 out of 4 stars. See it. So, what was the last comedy that made you laugh out loud? Comment down below, subscribe to the channel. This is Pat, and stay safe.